Welcome back to AZ State of Hockey. I am your host, Matthew Jacobson, the AZ Sports Guy, and after this show almost got canceled because I can't keep a schedule, I decided to be an adult and just take notes. Simple problems require simple solutions. Let's go ahead and get started with episode 4 of AZ State of Hockey, and we got a full slate minus D1 women's hockey. We'll start off with the NCAA team and a weekend series hosting Dartmouth on December 8th and 9th. Funny thing about Dartmouth, they headed into this series 2, 3, and 4. 2 wins, 3 losses, and 4 ties. They have one of the weirdest schedules I think I've ever seen in college. You had a scrimmage game on October 8th against UMass. You then had an exhibition game against the USA National Development Team. Starting off the season, they tie Harvard, they lose to New Hampshire, they tie Quinnipiac that were ranked number 8. They beat Princeton, they tied Cornell, they beat Colgate, they lost to UConn, they lost to St. Lawrence, they tied Clarkson, and then came in back-to-back tied Arizona State. After this series, they have tied in 3 consecutive games, and this series with Arizona State is their first back-to-back of the season, their first 2-game series. The entire time I've been following / covering college hockey, I have only ever seen teams play 2 games. They play on Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Friday, Sunday. But with the preamble out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into that first matchup on the 8th, and ASU gets the scoring started off at 6:17 of the first period. We're on the power play. Matthew Copperwood is 8th of the season from Lucas Sillinger and Captain Gratton, 1-0 Arizona State, before allowing 3 unanswered goals to end the first period, trailing Dartmouth 3-1 heading into the second. We're at 16:55, where freshman Cole Gordon records his second goal of the season from Benji Eckerly. Fun fact, by the way, Cole Gordon's uncle is former Coyote Boyd Gordon. About 2 minutes later at 18:15, Tyler Gratton his 8th goal of the season from Sillinger and Lovell. We are all tied heading into the third period, where Dartmouth scores at 4:32, but Benji Eckerly answers back his third unassisted at 8:46, head into overtime, nothing doing. Arizona State does technically win in the shootout, but it's officially a tie. However, it could have been a little bit worse because there was a goal that was called back in that third period. There was some goaltender interference on TJ Septenfelter, who gets the tie, 9-3-2 record, 20 saves and 4 goals against. Not TJ's best night, but ASU had to quickly shake that off because there was another game the next night. In my opinion, a must-win because you cannot tie back-to-back games against an unranked opponent and expect to not drop in the rankings. Skip ahead to the next night on the 9th, and Gibson Homer gets the start. So they're splitting the goaltending work right now for this series, and Brian Chambers gets his second goal of the season from Jackson Niedermeyer at 10:18 of the second period before Dartmouth scores to tie it a couple of minutes later at 13:38, and that's the only goal action. That is it. That is your final. Arizona State had a decent push in the third period. There was a couple of good opportunities in overtime, but there just isn't anything to add here. Back-to-back games, they tie. Back-to-back games against an unranked opponent, Arizona State ties, and the second game was a 1-1 tie. Yes, they technically win both in the shootout, but it still goes down officially as a tie, so I'm going to talk about it like it's a tie. I can talk about Gibson Homer for a minute, because he had a solid game, 19 saves, 1 goal against. He gets the tie, so his record is now 2-0-2, so at the very least, ASU never loses when Gibby plays, but that's just a little bit of cope. That's just a little bit of a jokey joke, because what else do you add to a game like that? It was boring and dull to watch, and I'm just saying the same thing over and over again, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on. ASU drops to 13th in one of the rankings and 16th in another, though officially they're going to go with their 13th right now, so Arizona State drops from 12 to 13. ASU's next games are going to be this weekend, the 16th and 17th at Robert Morris, the college over in Pennsylvania, and they currently have a 4-11-3 record. It's a .306 winning percentage. However, after a 7-game losing streak, they have won back-to-back games against Niagara on the 7th and 9th, 4-1 and 3-1 respectively. So you have a team that bounced back already, and Arizona State needs to win both of these games against a team that had their struggles all season, but they're coming off back-to-back wins. They are going to have more momentum right now than ASU, and they've not been traditionally good on the road this season. On the road this season, they are 1-1-2. They are winning just 25% of their games right now on the road. They need to win both of these and jump that up to about 50% because that'll be 3 wins and 6 tries. ASU needs to show up and play 2 good road games. Can they do it? Yes, they can. Are they going to do it? We'll just have to wait and see. Throwing a bit of a wrench into all of this is Arizona State. They made a recent call-up. This is the second time in the last 2 seasons they've done this. Last year, obviously, Brendan Studioso at the very end of the year. They have called up goaltender Chase Ham from the D1 ACHA team, the club team. In 12 games this season, Ham has posted a 3-7-1 record, a 3.40 goals against, and a .103 save percentage. To my knowledge, TJ is not injured. To my knowledge, Gibby is not injured. They have not reported any injuries with their 2 goaltenders. I know the third string goalie has had a couple of injuries in the background. I am not sure why they called up Ham. It's one thing I'm going to have to try to find an interview for and see if Coach Powers is going to give any context to this. However, as of right now, I don't suspect he's going to be playing, but he's going to be finishing the season with the NCAA team, not the club team. So congratulations to Chase. Really good to have you on the team, as long as you are not forced to play, because that would mean one of the ASU's main 2 goaltenders is hurt. Nothing against you. It's just you never want to see your players get hurt. Regardless, for the first time since Jarmelson retired as an Arizona hockey fan, I can say it's hammer time. With all the NCAA news out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the D1 club team. It was rivalry weekend on the 8th and 9th, and let's just say I'm disappointed. So, Olsen gets his 3rd goal of the season from Gross and Butler on the power play at 7:27 to start off the scoring before U of A would score. Let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4 unanswered goals. They're trailing 4-1 in the 3rd period, where King gets his first from Phillips and Marchant, making it 4-2 before a couple of back-to-back unanswered. 6-2 final. ASU drops game 1 of the rivalry series. Chase Ham, 45 saves, 6 goals against, 3-7, 1-0 record. Phenomenal game overall. Still lit 4 pucks past him, and I was actually watching a bit of that while the Dartmouth game was going on while I was working, and the ASU played really sloppy D, and U of A, they were playing solid. I didn't get to watch the second game, but they did lose that one as well. So to start off the scoring, Connor Kruk, his second from Quast and Friesen at 6:42. Side note, Friesen also has a YouTube channel where he vlogs a lot of this stuff. Then at 13:07, Connor Tillman is 14th from Marchant. 2-0 ASU heading into the second period, where there would be 3 consecutive power play goals, including 2 from Sam Myers. 3-2 U of A heading into the third, where the teams would exchange goals. 2:51, Wyatt Palmer is 6th in the power play, and then just 2.5 minutes later, Ryan Fisher his second, and it is a 4-3 finish. In regulation, ASU gets swept. They drop these back-to-back games on the rivalry series. Chase Ham getting the loss, 25 saves, 4 goals against, so he drops 4 goals in back-to-back games, then gets called up. That is not me throwing any shade at Hammer. I just think that is kind of funny, and I wanted to mention it, so there you go. The next games for the D1 team are going to be on January 5th and 6th at GCU, so we will not have to talk about them for a little bit. Seriously, this team is definitely confusing me. They started off hot. They're on this massive, mostly cold streak. Let's see if a bit of a break for the holidays can kind of jump them out of it. All right, next up is the D2 team. They had a couple of games on the 1st and 2nd against California State University Fullerton, and I didn't really have anything planned, so I'm going to go ahead and throw them on here. Let's go ahead and talk about them briefly. The game on the 1st, they win 8-1. I'll just go ahead and give you a goal scoring summary. So, Walcott is 5th at 13:09 of the 1st. Haddock is 2nd from Envoldsen, shorthanded, 53 seconds in. Bellatini is 11th from Manning at 3:02 of the 2nd. Finally, Fullerton gets on the board on the power play at 14:58 of the 2nd period. The 3rd period, 16 seconds in, Bellatini is 2nd of the night, 12th of the season from Walcott. Then at 8:18, Renbarger is 3rd from Rosenberg. 10:35, Envoldsen is 7th, 2nd of the night. His 7th of the season, 1st of the night. It's a second point from Walcott and Gunderson. Then you had him scoring his 8th just 5 minutes later before Quain gets his 2nd from Bellatini at 19:07. It's a 8-1 finish. Castro, 5-2-0-0 record, 18 saves, 1 goal against. Solid. The next night is even bigger. So, on the 2nd, they host CSU Fullerton again. It's a 12-2 victory. First period is 6:35. Envolson, his 9th of the season from Bellatini and Kimball. Then at 9:43, it's tied before 5 unanswered ASU goals. That's just in the first period. It technically keeps going on in the second period, where it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total unanswered goals. So Green is 4th from Envolson and Kimball. Envolson is 10th from Kimball and Gunderson. Kimball is 7th from Gunderson and Envolson. Barishita, his 2nd from Haddock and McDonald. I did get that name incorrectly. I apologize. Bellatini is 13th. You get Haddock is 3rd from McDonald, 48 seconds into the 2nd. Allison is 2nd from Haddock. Capuritis is 2nd from Keismer and Kellinger. That's a shorthanded goal at 13:27. Kelliger is 5th, making it 10-1. Finally, CSU answers back in the 3rd at 9:44 for Riley getting his 5th in the power play, and Envolson is 11th from Keismer. Lehman gets a win. It's 1-1-0-0 record for him. That's a ridiculous couple of games, and they weren't even done. They had another game against GCU on the 3rd. 2:17 in, Bellatini is 14th from Kimball on the power play. You then get GSU answering back. Before in the second period, Gunderson is 3rd from Riley on the power play. 4 consecutive power play goals between these two teams from Riley. Kimball is 8th from Bellatini. Going to the third period, Green is 4th. 17:52, GSU stops the bleeding, making it 3-2. Then on the power play in the third period at 5:05, Green is 4th. And then about 9 minutes later, he gets his 5th from Haddock and Bosch. A 5-2 finish. Manning gets the win. 2-5-0-1 record. A ridiculous weekend we had a week ago for the D2 men's team, winning all 3 in a row. Their next game is going to come on January 13th, hosting Michigan. And finally, the D3 team. They had a couple of games. Go ahead and jump right into it. On the 8th, hosting Hope College, they were shut out 4-0. Spignardi gets the loss, 3-5-0-0 record. Let's go ahead and just move on to the next one. On the 9th, hosting Calvin University, where they still lost 6-3. Witkowski is 2nd at 3:53 of the first period. Back-to-back unanswered games by Calvin, before Squirrely, his 9th from Yukonin, his shorthanded goal, 2-2. Second period, 34 seconds in, Cal gets another goal. So at that point, it is 3-2 in favor of Calvin, before Fisher gets his 5th from Sperling to tie it up, and then 3 unanswered goals by Calvin University, 18:33, and then back-to-back empty net goals at 19 minutes and 19:48, so a 6-3 finish. Apfelbaum gets his first loss of the season, 0-1-0-0 record, 32 saves, 4 goals against, and that is your D3 men's report. Didn't have a whole lot else to add. I just wanted to throw the D2 and D3 teams in because I know no one really talks about them, so there you go. I cannot possibly watch all 4 of these teams, or all 5 technically with the D1 women's team, but I'm going to at least give as much coverage as I possibly can. And that is going to do it for episode 4 of AZ State of Hockey. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully now I actually have the formula and the preparedness or whatever to actually try to get this off the ground. Community college dropout. I'm trying my best here. And let's see if I can turn this into an actual consistent podcast. So hopefully I will see you next week. Not really see you because I can't see you, but like hopefully you'll hear me next week. Go away. I'm sorry. I'm wasting too much of your time. Side note, congratulations, honey, for graduating. I do not have the brains in the family.